Hi everyone, Zoe here. Now, I actually need to be honest with you guys sometimes. A lot of the footage in these early videos that I've done, I actually shot a very long time ago. I just didn't have any means of editing it because I was building the PC to edit the footage. And as I was looking through some of the previous footage, I saw I had a fire kit in an Altoids tin. Now, I thought that was quite interesting because I've actually progressed a lot further along from where I started to where I am now. As a bushcrafter, a survivalist, an emergency planner, a prepper, whatever label you want to use. And I thought it was interesting just to see that I've gone from a mindset thinking this was a fire kit, and I thought I'd just show you what I carry in my kits now as a fire kit several years later. But I thought I'd look at kit progression. Now in about 4 or 5 years I've gone from having an Altoids tin full of fire starting materials to this pouch, which contains all of these items. Now, the way I've progressed is when this idea came to me, it was supposed to be very modular, very chuck it into any kit in any pack. So if I'm off to the countryside, it can go in there. If I'm off to the coast, it can go in there. If I'm going to the city, it can go in there. If I'm going on long distances by public transport, it just meant they can go in any kit depending on where my location is. And then it kind of spiraled into try and get as many fire starting methods as possible into a single kit. So let me just take you through the items that are in my fire kit at the minute. So, first couple are some basic solar magnifiers. One's a cheap credit card solar, and the other one's an 8 magnification lens, which I'll now have to wipe my fingerprints off. You've seen this before in one of my previous videos. It's my Char cloth container with the sulphur matches that I keep in my kit. I've not had much success with these, but it's one of the first things I ended up getting. I got about 400 or 500 of these. These are pre-injection swabs, basically the alcohol that can ignite on fire when hit with sparks. Here's one you've probably not seen before, if my camera likes to focus on the name. Magic Punky Dust. Now I do have a bad habit of this going everywhere, so I need to change the container at some point, but it's basically punky wood or wood dust that you can add to an ember to make it grow in size and have more fuel be consumed. This is the Pathfinder Mini Inferno, and it's probably a good time to explain why I always put everything in baggies, hence why this one's had to be folded in half. It's just a little bit of extra protection. So if I end up going head over heels into a river, or my kit does, yes, it's not completely waterproof, but it's going to be a bit more resistant to moisture than if they otherwise hadn't had protection. Guitar picks. In this case, the 100% cellulose version, which can, if you take it down to a dust and hit it with a spark, it can ignite, and these burn very well. The commercial product, the Banished Bee fire fuses, which are just impregnated cotton. Have you ever got any leftover Ranger bands? Shredded rubber. Saw a survivalist on TV once. Take one of these in the jungle, light it with a lighter, and then put that into some tinder. I think it was Ray Mears. Don't quote me on that one. But it's obviously not one that many people can think of. The only real example of chemical fire starting in here, potassium permanganate and glycerol. Combine the two and it basically creates a flame. You add a bit of H2O, it speeds it up. Obviously, no kit should be complete without a ferro rod. And this is the supplementary one as well. I always keep one on my person. In fact, in my day-to-day EDC, I carry about 3 of various sizes. These are an interesting one. I call them pixie fuses. They're actually potassium nitrate impregnated cotton, but this was they were made for me as a present by a girl named Pixie. So they've always bared her name, and they're very fun to blow into flame. Now you see why I always seem to have so many matches left over, because I keep recycling the strikers, and although I've labelled this up as wax dipped matches, They are wax dip matches and a couple of stone matches thrown in, just to get naked flame. Already pointed out the crocodile clips, just some cheap ones with some relatively good copper to make sparks with, or potentially heat the wire up. The pocket fire bellows, essentially just a method for blowing into your embers without having to get down there. Came in a subscription box and I thought I'd chuck it into the kit. The thing I really want to see more people start carrying in their kits, accelerant. Again, one of my favourite little sushi fish. Just makes getting fire a little bit easier. This is a relatively new addition. A friendly Swede, just a magnesium block, although I keep magnesium powder in my chemical cupboard. This one's just nice and useful because it's got an extra ferro rod on the side. Again, I always say this wrong, it's either an 8V or a 9V battery, I don't remember, just combined with the crocodile clips. You'll notice I don't have steel wool. I've not had very much success with steel wool fire starting in controlled conditions, so it's not something I'm willing to take out with me into a more wild one. Obviously, is any kit complete without some Bic lighters, and obviously they've had the quick modification of just having a cable tie under the button so it can't depress accidentally. We've got some basic birthday candles, i.e. mini candles, because I bought the wrong ones when I actually wanted the trick ones or the reigniting candles. Just again, can be nice off the char cloth, make naked flame, and some wind resistance especially from the igniting ones. The classic cotton and petroleum jelly. So this is just makeup pads rolled by hand in petroleum jelly and squished into some basic cigar-like shapes. And a more commercial version of exactly the same thing. Now I imagine you've probably never seen one of these before. This came in an Apoca box, which is the baby of Creek Stewart, who was on the Weather Channel's Fat Guy in the Woods. It has a number of books out as well. Basically it's for friction fires. It's taking a small piece of softwood with you, and if you can't find a big enough spindle of straight wood or appropriate wood, then you basically slot it into there and you have an extra aid for making a spindle with friction fire. And while we're still talking about friction fire, quick little modification I did using a draw handle and a ball bearing. Basically just to make a bearing block, because I found the actual process of making bearing blocks with wood quite laborious, so I just carry one with me. Obviously, been in anything in the survivalism community, fat wood, and then the rest of these are literally just tinders. So we've got some silver birch bark, some commercial firelighters, some really finely shredded wood, and jute twine which has been de-ravelled. And the final thing, I was really resistant to these initially, I don't know why, but the zip fire tubes. Was really resistant to these. Whether I thought they made me less of a bushcrafter or survivalist by putting them in kits, I don't know, but when I eventually sucked up my courage when I saw these in a local corner shop, they're absolutely wonderful. I keep them in my EDC, and I strongly recommend, if you have any concerns, that you should try going out your comfort zone every once in a while. But yeah, that just shows you how in a few years my thought processes have changed from my fire kit must fit in an Altoids tin to a more modular big pouch that I can fit into any backpack or any kit for whatever situation I'm going in. So there you go. Thank you for watching this incredibly brief video on my fire kit. As ever, please like and share the video. If you really want to support the channel, please consider subscribing to it, and if you really want to support it, please consider funding me on Patreon. Any funding for the channel is absolutely appreciated. So, as ever, get out there and do the impossible every day.